Tucson's hospitality market is heating up. Is it? Well, it certainly is around the university area where we've had a project just be completed that's up and running we're going to hear about, and one that's going to be coming out of the ground, and we're also going to hear about the whole general marketplace here real soon. I'm going to announce our first speaker, who needs no introduction. Most of us know him pretty well, although when I got his bio from his assistant, apparently she was refused her last pay raise, so I'm just going to read this as it is, Tom. So I apologize in advance. Tom Warren moved to Tucson as a junior in high school. 10 years later, he graduated from Rincon High School. He attended and somehow graduated from the University of Arizona, and upon graduation, he left Tucson for 3 years to be employed by a large New York Stock Exchange corporation, and then returned to Tucson and went into the retail business, a store we remember called Franklin's. He started developing in the early 70s around the university area, and he met his partner Don Semro in the late 70s. Together, they have developed 300 square feet of commercial development. I think it's 3 million. Tom and his partner, Don, are the developers of the Main Gate Square and coordinated the zoning of the Main Gate Overlay District, which I am grateful for helping me do one of my deals last year. So Tom, come on up here and talk to us about the Main Gate.
Before I get started, I'd like to introduce my partner, 32 plus years, in the back there, Don Semro, and also Jerry Hawkins, who's the broker on this deal. A lot of you are brokers, and so I'd like to identify Jerry, who brokered the deal to make this possible and found the partners that we're going to have. The Main Gate Hotel, if you can all see this, is part of the overlay district, and was part of the overlay district zoning. It's zoned for 159 feet 6 inches, so theoretically it could go to 14 stories. It's shown as 14 here. It'll probably be 13 stories with the changes that we've made. Most likely it will be a Marriott Residence Inn. It'll be an iteration or addition that has not been built. The latest addition is being built and finished right now in Tempe. This addition and the modifications that have been made, it's just much more urban, have not been built. This should be the first one in the country. And I want to go over just the basics of the hotel so you can understand how hopefully it'll end up. It'll have 198 suites and 150 plus parking spots on the site. It's positioned, if you can see, up on the north corner, top left corner. That is the hotel that will be built, and then to the left of that is the present Marriott. To the right of that, on the top right corner, is the Louise Foucault Marshall building that's located right on Park Avenue. So just to get an idea. So this is the first floor, the lobby, offices, that type of thing, and some retail. There'll be, in the bottom right-hand corner, there'll be a restaurant with nano walls and so on. That'll go back out to the courtyard in the center of that block. There'll be a clear story for the lobby, as you can see here. How high it'll be, it'll be approximately 30-some feet. And there'll be parking on the ground floor, and then parking for 4 floors above that. This shows on the 4th floor the dividing walls in a room like this. It'll be a 10,000 square foot ballroom. There'll be conference breakout rooms all around it, and there'll also be a lecture hall of 180 people at the bottom of the screen. You can see that where the seating is. There's a demand for that with the university, but there's also a demand for that in the overall community. This is just a typical floor, and it shows the parking, nestled in back there. All of them are suites. They all have high ceilings. The bathrooms are very large. Honestly, when we saw the one in Tempe, the bathrooms will be larger on this, but you honestly thought you were in a Four Seasons in a mini suite or something. The bathrooms are very large, very elaborate. And Marriott's developed a new system where you don't use any drywall to speak of in the rooms or down the halls. and it's all like a hard finish plastered wall, like an old plastered wall that was done, over lath a long time ago. So it allows for, very high ceilings, very clean finished look. This is the 13th floor. The 13th floor, there'll be a rooftop bar. It'll open up to the north. It's a way to close it, like, some of the bad weather we had end of January, beginning of February with the rain and so on. It's really cold. It'll have a fire pit, but it'll have great views. And that'll be, roughly about 145 feet above surface. So you'll be able to see all the way south, north, and west and east. And above that is what we call the University Club, and that is this right here, the all glass all the way around. The university is going to lease that, and we've worked with several stakeholders at the university to develop this, and it's not just a faculty club. It's alumni club, it's corporate stakeholders, like some of the banks in here. Maybe they didn't attend the University of Arizona, but they give to the university, interact with the university. So it'll be, and also be foundation people that donate money and so on. So it'll have a multi-purpose. They'll also be able to have a lecture if they want, and then bring the people up, reserve the rooftop bar, or have the people, have the various participants from, let's say, the College of Science, where they have a lot of lectures and a lot of guest scientists from around the world come, and then they'll have a university club, or they can use it for recruiting. So that's what they want. It was their request, and the views will be fantastic up there. So the faculty will use it during the day if they want, and so on, right after, at the end of the day. So it should be a very interactive place. I want to go back to the overall site. We're going to try and make the center of the block extremely interactive. We'll have screens that'll probably be showing things digitally from about 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 at night. They'll be able to have music festivals there, which the Marshall Foundation has now at the Geronimo Square, and they'll have different activities. They'll be able to beam in a basketball game at UCLA, when it's at UCLA, so it'll be very interactive. Also, the students will be able to, for media arts, they'll be able to show their movies if they want, that type of thing. So we're going to make it extremely interactive, and it'll be finished very nicely, and might even have Don Baker look at the plans before we finalize them. Make sure it's nice. So this is the back part of the hotel. You can see this. This will be built. Don and I are partnering up through Jerry's efforts with a group out of Branson, Missouri, who built thousands of rooms, owns very large hotels. In fact, this last edition of the Southwest Air magazine, one of their hotels was featured in Branson. They'll be our partners, and it'll be built on an 85-year ground lease. Thank you very much, and I hope I did within 5 to 7 minutes.
You might have said it, I was trying to take a look. Do you have a preliminary cost budget?
We do have a very preliminary one. We're actually, in fact, I was talking to Jim Sellers earlier today. We're going to have a more complete one in about 10 days. We're putting it, maybe 2 weeks, we're putting it out tomorrow because we've adjusted the plans, we've increased the parking, we've done some efficiencies on the column spacing. Marriott's very strict on column spacing, and tried to come up with some different ways to do it that are more efficient. But I think I just throw out a rough number, and it's very rough. Hopefully it's less, hopefully it's not more, it could be more, but it's approximately a $35 million project, to just give you an idea. That's an approximation. Yes?
Previous information had included a movie theater component. Is that no longer part of the program?
That is no longer part of the program. We would have liked that. And part of the problem is when you're building the tower over the movie theater, you need huge moment beams. If it's steel, there used to be, before the recession, they made those beams in Germany and in Baltimore, Maryland. Now they're just made in Germany. Extremely expensive. To use concrete, it's also very expensive, and it just drives the price up, even with a low rate of return on the rent. it'll drive the price up too high to make it really work for a movie theater, unfortunately. Yeah.
When do you think you can start construction?
We'd like to be in the ground like the end of November, beginning of December, with a foundation permit, Michael. Yeah, we've had preliminary meetings with the city. City staff is completely aware of what we want to accomplish, what we want to do, and the zoning, everything's in place. That all the disciplines of the city have met with us and our engineers. Yes?
How will the ADR on this property compare to that of the existing area? Any projections?
Probably very similar, to be honest. We're not, our pro forma is pretty conservative. So it'll be very similar to the ADR next door.
On your pro forma, how many years do you anticipate it will take to get to stabilized occupancy 60-65%?
Well, with looking to the gentleman that's going to speak next, he can answer that better than us, I'm sure. Actually, with what I know about the Marriott and what I've heard about the loft, and pre-marketing with Marriott, who has the best reservation system in the United States, it should be stabilized extremely quick. It's really not. We're performing like 18 months, quite frankly, but it should stabilize much faster with the occupancy that's going on and has gone on.
I know you mentioned it, but one more time, the name of your architectural firm, the name of your engineer, please?
Oh, I didn't mention him. Butler Rosenberry, Butler Rosenberry out of Springfield, Missouri, is the architecture firm. Yes.
Is that the completion date?
Yeah, we're looking at about 15 months total construction, with FF&E and all. Yes, Paul.
Quickly, do you kind of forecast what you see as the growth of the pie, not share, but growth of the pie based on university? Because obviously you're believing it's going to grow and expand. Get your drive.
Yeah. Well, and what's occurred in the past, actually, it was underserved. So there's some. It's kind of like the car market, right? The oldest fleet in the history of the United States is a fleet outside in the parking lot right now, and so it's underserved. So there's some just catch-up demand that might be drawing from other places in town that aren't as convenient to the university. So I think that's the initial part. The other part of the expansion is probably the research facilities and also University Health Services, College of Science. They've been putting people all over town. They've actually had somebody come in from MIT and they're here for 9 days working on a project, and basically they have a professor driving to River Road or the far east part of town to go pick up the person and bring them back. So those inefficiencies, hopefully will be done away with and will make us stronger. The university is still putting large emphasis on research, and one of their vice presidents is actually in charge of that association of the large research facilities in the country, university research facilities. And so I think that's probably the one driver. Hopefully the athletic department will be also a big driver.